Hey guys, Zar here. Good morning to you. Hope all is well. Trust you're having a good morning. It is 9:29 and 30 seconds. We have 30 seconds until the open of New York here on Tuesday morning. It's January 9th. This is the daily chart of NASDAQ, S&P, and Dow, the three sisters. You can see we're trading mid-range of yesterday's very big range. That was a lockout rally, essentially on all three sisters. If you're a day trader or a scalper, of course, you can always jump on board the trend, and some people did. I took a nice 2-hour win in the morning on the S&P, and then was basically grounded for the rest of the day, given that the rally never really did reverse or breathe very much at all. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. My swing trades were very happy with yesterday's price action. Let's take a look now at the three sisters on the 1-minute chart as we open up here in the next, well, we just did open up actually. Let me just zero in. There it is. Now you can see it. See that there? That's the first 1-minute candle on the three sisters here on the New York Open. Just kind of trying to get set up here, making sure we can see everything clearly, and it looks like we can. Those little pink horizontal lines, that's the 1-minute open range. Of course, the first minute is not done yet. We have 10 seconds left, and then that will be set for the rest of the session, and those lines will move out to the right as we proceed here throughout the day. Again, the 1-minute open range. See that there? Now it's done. We're into the second 1-minute candle. Let's take a look at the power grid, as I like to call it. We'll take a look at these 30-minute charts. Here's the Dow. Been falling all the way through the European session. Now there's again the first candle of the New York session, continuing to sell down in the Dow. Let's take a look at the S&P. Same picture. The background's going to come. There it is. And continuing up, firming up a little bit here on the S&P. How about the NASDAQ? Again, similar picture until this candle. We're being bought up here now in this clean traffic range on the 30-minute chart. So this may be a little time to revise. I may, in fact, bring this down. You see that right there? This is an impending support zone. Get rid of this arrow for now. We don't need that. We can see how clean that traffic is. I'll be watching this very closely. Of course, I'll be putting you on pause and cutting out dead air, sideways grinding action, non-teaching moments, things of that nature, and keep this video nice and tight. There's that 1-minute open range. We are now trading above it on the NASDAQ. Let's take a look at the S&P. We are trading below the 1-minute range on the S&P. Let's take a look at the Dow. We are trading below on the Dow. So we have a mixed bag here, guys. You can see this on the three sisters, rallying on the NASDAQ, selling off on the Dow, and the S&P kind of in the middle, as it often is during these types of moves. I'll put you on pause for now. We'll come back as this thing develops, and we'll see if we can get a trade here this morning. Be right back. All right, guys, we're back, and I'm watching the Dow here, looking for a sell opportunity below the low of the session right there. Stop above the range. Here we go, guys. Sell stop order. I'll fix these markers here in a moment. Give me one moment. Just going over to my own platform. I am watching the three sisters on a different monitor as always. We have a bearish picture on the 30-minute chart, having broken a zone in the pre-market, which now becomes quite a bit less relevant to me, quite frankly, so I'm taking it out for now. I'm just going to watch the pure candles here. Watching. Selling the weakest of the three sisters, guys. I'll show this to you in a moment. That's if we drop. And that's if we drop, of course. Otherwise, not interested. Let me quickly show this to you. Notice how the NASDAQ is above and now rounding down into the open range. Something similar in the S&P, whereas the Dow is remaining below the open range. And that's what I'm looking for here, essentially remaining below, at least on the lower end, and below the bearish EMAs here on the 1-minute chart. We have bearish configuration on the 30-minute chart. We have a bear bar inside day, bear candle I should say, on the daily chart. And below the 9, right? Price is trading below the 9 EMA. And I'm in, guys. And I'm in right here, short the Dow. Selling the weakest of the three sisters. Let's take a look very quickly. Notice this. Oh, now with the this is not going to help my trade at all. The NASDAQ has just turned quite bullish here, and we're spiking up. And this is obviously, it's a 1-minute chart, but this is a bullish configuration given the EMA config as well, the 9 above the 21. This was rounding at the time of my entry. I see the Dow is selling off, so that's fine, but I would obviously like to have these two sisters in agreement and breaking back down into the open range, and then of course below ultimately. I don't know if the Dow is going to have enough steam all by itself to drive all the way down here, but we'll see. I am short, I'm sticking with it, and we'll see how these 4 models go. Primary target, of course, as always, is 1R, which is right here, this first white line, and then there's a 1.5R and 2R more extreme targets, and we'll see if we can get there. I'll put you on pause for now. We'll come back and talk about this trade, but this is a trend continuation trade. Be right back. And there it is. Over 2 hours later, we finally hit the original stop. And so all 4 models take a 1R charge on this one. It's a routine loss. So the setup was actually quite nice. This is a 3-minute chart now. I had to include all the candles. So let me take you back to the 1-minute chart. We'll take a look at this actual setup here where I was looking at it on the 1-minute chart. There's the 1-minute open range. Of course, we came in with a bearish configuration on the 30-minute chart through the European session, and then we had this bearish opening candle on the in the New York session. And so we formed the open range, pulled down, pulled back up again, and began to sell down. And that's where I shorted this thing on the break of the session low. Obviously, it was only a few minutes into the session, but this is a setup that I would take every day of the week, and more often than not, it would work out. But this was quite a sloppy session. We, of course, had a bunch of action going on in the three sisters around that time as well. There's the NASDAQ on the open. This is the S&P grinding inside of the open range for quite a long time, as a matter of fact. And then, of course, the Dow is the one that I acted upon here, taking that short down. We got to about 0.7R. Yeah, about 0.7R at one point. Not quite the 1R to get the 1R profitability and or move stop to break even on the 4th model. And so going back to the 3-minute chart here, let me take it back. There we go. Let me just format this and I'll bring you back. There we go. So spent a good 2 hours plus in this trade, grinding around, looking like we had a second chance after pulling back into the open range here, but not to be the case. This is a routine loss. Sometimes the coin lands on tails, even though we're calling heads. And I talk about trading as like flipping a coin, and at no point do I mean that we have a 50-50 chance, because I don't believe that at all. In fact, this is a weighted coin. If we have a mathematical edge, a positive expectancy model, then our coin is weighted towards heads, let's say. I always use heads as the winning side and tails as the losing side. And so we wait for optimal setups and we flip the coin. And even though the coin is weighted heavily towards heads, sometimes it will still land on tails. And anybody who's flipped an actual weighted coin knows this, that the majority of the time the weighted coin will in fact land on heads if it's weighted to heads, but sometimes it will still land on tails. And that's what happened here in this trade and on any optimal setups that are entered. And so that is the way this one will end. Thanks for being here today, guys. 11:55. We're still in the twilight zone of course, this trade was taken right near the beginning of the day. We'll see if we get another trade this afternoon. But so far, starting this day with a 1-hour loss on all 4 models. Thanks for clicking the like button and for saying hi in the comments. I appreciate you. We will talk to you soon.